Do you want some silly monsters? How about 100 monsters for OSR games? Or folklore-inspired monsters with bonus material to build entire 5th edition encounters around? Well, we've got all that and much more in the latest episode of D&D New Releases, so let's get started. Hi, it's Splinterverse. Welcome to another episode of D&D New Releases, where we offer first impressions of new third-party products for Dungeons & Dragons. We cover a selection of titles from Dungeon Masters Guild and Drive-Thru RPG each week. The titles are presented in alphabetical order, and all of them are linked in the video description. Purchasing the books using those links helps the channel, but you can also support us by purchasing one of our best-selling books. Our newest release, Dragonlance Companion, offers 180 pages for players and DMs to bring the magical world of Krynn to life. And like many of our books, it's available in hardcover and digital format. Our Swarms of the Multiverse offers over 70 brand new creatures, including their associated swarms, instructions on how to make your own balanced swarms, and lots of bonus materials such as 4 new demi-planes. Our Feywild Companion offers 150 pages of Feywild fun for players and DMs alike. Also, our book, Fizban's Vault of Draconic Secrets, contains over 50 pages of dragon-themed player options, including a subclass for each class and much more. We've got lineages suitable for any setting, as well as optional lineage rules in our Van Richten's Librum of Lineages. With our Potions Unlocked book, we have over 100 pages of material to take potions to the next level in your game. Please support the channel by purchasing our books using the links in the video description. First up, we have Beyond the Borderlands, issue number 2 from Gnarled Monster. It's $5 for 20 pages, and it's a system-agnostic zine inspired by the classic module B2, The Keep on the Borderlands, and it's an attempt to sort of reimagine it with a new flavor and content. So in this issue, you get the Bloody Ravine, a natural fortress used as a hub for monsters and cultists, 6 isometric dungeons, each with their own random encounters and loot, rules for scouting dungeons stealthily, and a procedure to change alert states, as well as a bestiary with 60 monsters, including ones from this scene and the previous one, as well as some NPCs. So quite a bit of stuff in here, but what I love is the artwork. I mean, this is so cool, this isometric hex they've got. It looks really cool, and you can see it's really cleanly laid out. It's really easy to read everything. Here's a kobold lair, and you've got all the different numbered points of interest here. Even a table of 2d6 encounters. The first one's a hooded figure selling potions, including a chief going to a storage room, a chief and warriors planning a raid, etc. Says kobolds are angry and cautious, won't trust humans without a reason. And then it gives you information on all the other numbered areas, as well as another page with information. And then you got bugbear quarters, same kind of stuff, goblin caves. So these are really cool. And even though, you know, it says it's system agnostic, I mean, I could see this for so many systems, even beyond the ones we tend to think of on this show, 5th edition Pathfinder. I could see it used for pretty much any fantasy system, because they've done, I think, a really good job keeping it really clean and simple. But yeah, I love these little maps and all the detail you're getting for each of the rooms. So let's read a little bit about this first one, the Bloody Ravine. So I'm gonna zoom in here. It says, pale wood trees of scarlet foliage spread across the ravine. A waterfall hangs over the landscape and the air feels fresh and sweet. This place doesn't look as bad as expected. At the end of the gully, an ominous structure gazes upon the visitors and welcomes them with an open mouth. It says, when adventurers first arrive, the creatures from the Bloody Ravine are off guard. They haven't caught any humans invading their homes in a few months, and their presence is rather unexpected. This gives players an initial opportunity for easy sneaking and safe social interactions before things get ugly. So it talks about alert level, etc. But interesting, it goes from relaxed all the way to paranoid. So there's 4 levels of alertness. So you could even transpose that alert level mechanic to any system. Maybe use it in 5th edition or something. But it says the Church Errand, which is point of interest 3. So, oh, that must be in the lower map. Maybe, I'm not sure. No, I'm sorry. My bad. I think it connects to these sample traps, perhaps. Anyway, it says the High Priest promises a reward for a stolen relic, the High Priest's staff. He gives the exact coordinates to the Bloody Ravine and asks for discretion. If the group manages to return his staff, he brings the group under the church and casts a powerful spell, knocking everyone out. They awake in the castle's dungeon behind thick iron bars and must find a way to escape before the priest returns to perform the sacrifice ritual. If the ritual is completed, the priest becomes a demon and turns the entire garrison into snake servants. Well, that's no good. We can't have that. I hate it when that happens. So that's one. I think these are like adventure hooks is what these are. So that's one, and then there's 3 others. But you can see it's well written, easy to read, lots of good white space usage so that you can not feel like the pages are overcrowded. And then of course these stunning isometric hex maps. Really, really cool. So I hope you check it out. It's in the video description links under Beyond the Borderlands. Give it a click. Next, we have a Folklore Bestiary inspired by folk tales and superstitions from the Merry Mushman. It's $20 for 160 pages, and this is for 5th edition. It says, we all know that for a referee, having an encounter is better than just having a monster, but we mush folk are of the opinion that an adventure is better than an encounter. Our bestiary gives you exactly that, enough material to design whole scenarios around each monster, and it's from those who brought you a Knock magazine. So if you like that magazine, you're going to like this. It's full of whimsical, spooky creatures inspired by actual folktales and superstitions from the real world. And Dungeons & Dragons never really stopped to explore the weird corners of folklore tradition, so they drew on those for creepy knowledge to make their games legendary. It says we've got giants and we've got fairies, we've got weird magical beasts, and we've got more than one titanic beast that'll give the Tarrasque a run for its life. But more importantly, we have the tales these monsters come from. For every one of them, we've included 1 to 3 pages of gameable material, whether it's adventure hooks, magical items, spells, dungeons, and hex scrawls, and more. So really cool. I've seen this series before, or this book before, I've looked at a physical copy, and it's really fun. There's so much to enjoy in here, and all the assorted things that come along with the monsters, I think really make it stand out as a bestiary. So let's look inside. And right off the bat, it says, need some adventurers, rival parties, colleagues in distress, prisoners to free, whatever you need them for, use this group, or the one on page 158. So it gives you some quick stats. Maybe you have somebody who's showing up at the last minute that wants to play. You can give them one of these characters to play. You can run them as NPC, whatever you want to use them for. But I love that starts right off. And these, you'll notice, are the 3 characters from the cover art. So it gives you a connection to those. And you can use it to represent your character if you're assigned one of those. But then in alphabetical order, you've got Angehead all the way down to Wolfwalkers of Osrage, or Osrage. I'm not sure how to say that. But then it goes by challenge rating, so it looks like it goes from 1-8 all the way to 22. So that's a good range. And I love it when books include that CR table. And I'm noticing hyperlinkage. So if you get this PDF, you're going to have that ability to hyperlink and jump around to different things, which is really, really cool. So it starts off with Basawan, and at least in the sample. So then you get this really incredible artwork like the cover to represent that character. But see how much intro text there is that really gives you lore and history, a lot of stuff around it. And then you get names, and then you eventually get to the stat block, which is a CR9. So it's not like they're just throwing the stat block at you with a paragraph of intro text and moving on, right? They're really going deep into the backstory. And then in this particular case, like the extra bonus material includes riddles, and some other pieces here. It looks like maybe even a feat and some hooks. So as I said, you're going to get a multitude of things with each of these monsters, which I really like. So there's a whole story here. I'm not going to read the story, but I'll read this intro paragraph. It says, they lived here long before we came. From them we stole the secrets of livestock and farming. These rustic giants who roam mountains and forests and live in the beautiful secret caves are sometimes called the Wild Lords because they know the secrets of nature. Here are some true stories about them. So then, of course, you get to read those stories, and then talks about naming. The stat block, which has a lot of cool stuff, it's got a reaction called Deadly Reach. It says, in response to a visible enemy moving into reach 10 feet, the Basiwan makes one mountain staff attack against that enemy. If the attack hits, the Basiwan can make a second mountain staff attack against the target. So that's cool. And then the riddles, it says, it is a secret known to few that Basiwans are very fond of games. They are also very bad at them, so the best way to calm an angry Basiwan is to ask him a riddle or a charade. The Basiwan must succeed on an intelligence saving throw or stop whatever he's doing and devote all his energy to the riddle, plunging into an abyss of contentment and confusion. Only one attempt is possible per encounter. After 1d3 hours of intense consideration, the Basiwan tries his best to answer. For an easy riddle, he needs intelligence check to find the solution. His reflection is only interrupted if an aggressive act is committed against him or one of his relatives. So that's a fun way to stop him, but you'd have to come prepared, right? You got to bust out that riddle book or something to come up with some riddles to hopefully stump the Basiwan. But as I said, you're getting hooks, you're getting a feat, so many different things, and then you're going into the next one, and it says even up here at the top, it says from Serbia. And then there's a pronunciation. So this one is Bukovac. I should have read the pronunciation on Basiwan. I probably pronounced it wrong. But yeah, all this beautiful artwork and information going along with each of these. There's the Kabouter, Tartaro. Yeah, I love the art on that one. But you get to see 41 pages out of 160. So you can really play around with this. See what you like, see if it's going to work for you, but I can't imagine it wouldn't. If you're a DM, I mean, I feel like this one's a no-brainer because, I mean, it even has, look, there's some sort of layer here all mapped out for you. I mean, you could pick and choose things out of here. You can take the feet, you can take the hooks, you can take it all and use it, or just pieces. And that's the beauty of books like this, that they try to give you that bonus material, not just whatever the subject of the book is. So I love it. I hope you check it out. It's under Folklore Bestiary in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have the Orb of Envy. It's a 5th edition adventure from Jeff Stevens Games. It's $2.95 for 11 pages. It's a short one for 5 6th-level characters and features social interaction, exploration, and combat. But it also has scaling suggestions for weaker or stronger parties as well. It says, Alina, youngest daughter of a noble family, showed signs of magical aptitude in her early teens and was apprenticed to Master Wizard 𝙤𝙤𝙠𝙨 𝘽𝙤. Over the years, the princess and her family exchanged many letters, and Alina often visited. She has served her parents and their court well, but always returned to Master 𝙤𝙤𝙠𝙨 to continue her studies. A little over a year ago, Master 𝙤𝙤𝙠𝙨 took possession of an emerald green scrying orb. Having several such orbs already, he gave this one to Alina to study and learn the arts of divination. Unfortunately, the orb was cursed. The more Alina experimented with it, the more the curse transformed her until she became a green dragon in form as well as temperament. Eventually, she killed Master 𝙤𝙤𝙠𝙨 and claimed the tower as her own. Well, that's sad, but I like it. It makes sense. I mean, this character was under tutelage, ended up getting a hold of something that was cursed, and the curse just went through all the stages until finally transforming this poor young Alina into a green dragon. So that's really, really interesting backstory to discover as your adventurers navigate through this adventure. And you can see it's got really nice layout, pictures, maps, etc. But let's look inside and read a little more. So here you see you got flavor text for approaching the tower. Then you've got all these maps for the tower. It's always cool with towers because you can do like side-by-side maps because, you know, you have an outline of the tower and you can just layer it. So I love that when you can see them all side by side and say, oh, first, second, third, fourth, fifth floor. Or roof or whatever. And it talks about you can use some of the Kobold Press books here instead of some of the basic monsters that are available for 5th edition, so you've got some versatility if you have some Kobold Press books. But lots and lots of flavor text and things in here, so let's find a section that sounds good that we can read. So, approaching the tower, 4 stories of stone tower rise from the surrounding countryside, the crenellations looking like giant gray teeth. Dark green foliage completely wraps the tower, but a well-maintained gravel path leads to the covered doors. It says the presence of a green dragon caused all the plants around the tower to grow thick and twisted, completely covering the door and all the windows. The springy vegetation has an AC of 15, is resistant to piercing damage, and has 30 HP. So yeah, that's kind of interesting that they're approaching this tower, and it may just look overgrown, but there's actually a reason behind it, and it looks like there's some shambling mounds living inside some of the vegetation as well, so cool stuff. So let's read the flavor text for the dining hall. It says the great double doors of the tower open onto the dining hall. A long oaken table with matching benches and chairs occupies the center of the room. An archway in the north wall leads into the kitchen. Farther along, a hearth juts into the room. A cupboard stands against the east wall. In the southeast corner, a circle of glowing runes is inscribed into the floor. Besides the circle stands a halfling man in embroidered robes. So very cool. I like how easy that is to read. You know, I'm reading it out loud for you, and it's just flowing for me. So they've taken time to edit this, probably read it out loud to make sure it doesn't trip up the reader. So that's very, very cool. And, you know, I think it's a healthy assortment of art. I love this picture of Angus here. You've got the Bell of Shattering. So you've got a good mix of text, art, maps, everything you could want for a one-shot about this cursed Orb of Envy. So look for it in the video description links and give it a click. Next we have Sentient Weapon Sidekicks. Unraveled Archives is the publisher, and Michael Rollins and Caleb Wilden are the authors. $2 suggested price for the 9 pages. And it says, this free supplement includes the sidekick rules and a simplified selection of sentient origins as well as minor and major properties. With it, players and DMs can get a taste of what a sentient weapon can be like as a fleshed out, ironed out character rather than a magic item. And then there's a link to the full product. So this is just like a sampling, but I wanted you to see it because it's low cost. You can pay $2 or you can just pay $0, and then with the intention of either paying later if you use it, or if you come back and buy the full one. I'm sure it's okay to get this one for free if you're going to buy the full edition. But let's look inside. So it introduces options for players to create and play as a sentient weapon character, and includes rules for sentient weapon sidekicks as well. So you could be a sentient weapon, or the party could have a sidekick that's a sentient weapon. And it's built upon those rules in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything for the sidekicks. So it all should work together. So you, right off the bat, you get how to create a weapon sidekick, various traits that are possible. And it says, you know, here's the options. A player plays the sidekick as their second character. A player plays the sidekick as their only character. The players jointly play the sidekick, or the DM plays the sidekick, right? You have many options. And if people are coming and going from your table, then those options are good, right? Because maybe this week it's the DM, next week it's the person who returned that wasn't here last week, whatever, right? Or maybe it's for the drop-in character. Maybe the DM plays it when the drop-in player isn't there, and when the drop-in player is there, they get to take over, right? You know, so many options. I love sidekicks as a concept. So it talks about the weapon and the different features it has. So it seems like it's almost like a class the way it's set up, which makes sense. You know, that's kind of how sidekicks seem to be as well. So you got different origins for them, and then based on your origin, it looks like you're getting access to different spells. So if you're aberrant, you're going to get spells like Bane, Dissonant Whispers, Spider Climb, Evard's Black Tentacles. But if you are Fae, for example, you might get Charm Person or Goodberry or Crown of Madness or Polymorph or things like that. So that fits, right? We tend to associate certain spells with certain creature types sometimes. And then you've got the ability to spellcast, of course, minor properties as you level, because sidekicks can level, right? So really fun. I love this. I think any way to mix up what's already available to you in books like Tasha's is really helpful. And maybe you want to have an NPC, That's a sentient weapon. So there's so many ways to go about it. You can check it out for free or go ahead and pay the $2 to help support the creators. But I definitely think if you're going to end up using it, you should come back and pay and support. Or, as I said, they have a link in here for the full product, which is also on DM's Guild, so you can get that. But this was a cool preview I wanted to share with you. So check it out. It's under Sentient Weapon Sidekicks in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Silly Monsters. I know a lot of those in real life. And it's from Seeds of Wars. It's $3.99 and it's 40 pages. So it says, adventuring is serious business. Death lurks around every turn, and ill-prepared characters don't last long when coming face-to-face with terrible monsters that want nothing more than to kick their asses. And yet, the very essence of role-playing games is too fun. We believe that game masters can provide their players with scary yet challenging encounters while still having a good laugh. So you're going to get a really fun, hilarious in some cases, supplement that you can use to mix it up. You know, it doesn't always have to be a creepy evil lich or zombie that, you know, is clearly the bad person, right? This picture on the front, you can see they're running from this this bull, it looks like, you know, but it's not an ordinary bull. It's got like patchwork skin. So we're gonna look inside, and here's another giant bull looking creature with some really fun artwork. And it says animated squeaky toy. Coming in a myriad of forms, animated squeaky toys often take the shape of friendly-looking animals, plants, or sometimes food items. Occasionally, they even resemble caricatures of royalty, armored knights, or other distinctive humanoids. Yeah, so I could see a giant toy becoming, you know, rampant, like a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man or something, just, you know, going through, messing with things. I mean, it's a CR9, so this is no joke. It's not like you could throw this at a level 1 character, right? And because it's a squeaky toy, I mean, squeaky toys exist in the real world, so you could even probably use this stat block for a modern monster. So that's some dual use of this. And then here we have another one. It looks like the Assassin Doll, who's a CR3. That looks really cool. And then we got Balloon Artist and Friends. Yeah, Balloon Artist would be a fun one to unleash on your players. It doesn't say what CR it is, but I mean, oh wait, yeah, the balloon artist is 12, but the balloon animal varies. Okay, got it. Makes sense. So it is a CR12. But yeah, you could even, I mean, there's got to be YouTube videos on how to make balloon animals, right? You could even make some balloon animals, hide them under the table or somewhere, and then boom, throw them out there on your map or wherever, and just surprise your players. Even during a break or something, and really have fun with some of these things. So let's read about the Assassin Doll. It says, the first such doll was created by accident in a ritual designed to infuse great power into a ruthless killer. Instead, it destroyed his body, leaving his soul trapped, unable to move on without physical form until he found the body of a doll to inhabit. While not comfortable, this new form had its advantages, and soon he forgot about life as a mortal, instead using the advantages of his new form to continue killing for money. Others soon followed. Some theorized that this first doll created a flaw in the universe, a path that others followed. In contrast, others theorized that this is a form of punishment, to be forced to live without the pleasure of life. Either way, such dolls are a plague on the world, ending the lives of others with cruelty. Often bounties are posted for such dolls as they rack up kills and cause problems for the local authorities. So, fun. You know, reminds me a little bit of Chucky or Annabelle or any of those, you know, kind of creepy doll movies. And this is another one where I think it could work equally well in fantasy or modern, as well as the Balloon Artist, right? So I think this book is going to be rather versatile in its offerings, in that the you know, most of the books like this are either all modern or all fantasy, or, you know, sci-fi maybe a little bit. So very cool. Now there is this ability that looks interesting. It's a trait here for the balloon artist. It says bubble wraps. The balloon artist wears armor covered in 11 bubbles. While wearing the bubble wraps, the balloon artist is immune to bludgeoning force and falling damage. When the balloon artist takes acid, cold, fire, lightning, necrotic, radiant, piercing, or slashing damage, one of the bubbles is destroyed. The balloon artist takes half the damage dealt, and creatures within 5 feet of him take 3 thunder damage. Once all of the bubbles have been destroyed, the bubble wrap ceases to function. So that's a fun little trait. You can have it interact with different damage types. You know, a lot of times parties are just like, oh, what resistance? Oh, well, that didn't work or whatever. So having something that's temporary involving damage types would be, I think, a nice change of pace, because it's usually like, let's try to detect the resistances, and or at least try to track them and understand what they are as we go. So this would mix that up and make it a little harder to figure out. So cool stuff. So I'm going to recommend that you look for it in the video description links under Silly Monsters and give it a click. All right, next we're going to talk about Tales of the Valiant Alpha Release from Kobold Press. It's $9.99 on sale, normally $19.99. It's 177 pages. And if you have not heard, this is a new effort that Kobold Press is taking on to make 5th edition their own. Everything in it will be backwards compatible with 5th edition, so you can still use all of Kobold Press's books for Tales of the Valiant. You can also use other 5th edition books out there with Tales of the Valiant. The point is that this is trying some new things, tweaking some things, coming up with some new ways of doing stuff, and it just kind of overlays on top of 5th edition. So it can be really cool. I've seen a lot of the PDF samples that have come out and looked at those, and they're trying some different things that are interesting. And I think it would be cool for you to take a look at it, see what's going to work for you. And as with any system, you can pick what you like and use that, and lose what you don't. So now would be a good time to get into it, check it out, and start experimenting with what they're up to, because, you know, they're looking for feedback, and you can share that with them. They have various ways to reach out to them. You know, they're on all the social medias, and they probably have a Discord server. I'm not sure. I'm not on it if they have one, but I'm sure there's ways to get your feedback to them, even through here, 𝐷rive-thru-RPG. You can leave comments or reviews, etc. But they've got the classes in here, how you do that, the equipment, playing the game, all this stuff, spellcasting, monsters. I will caution you that this is not the final release, so I'm not sure how that's going to work, if they're going to replace this with the final version when it's finalized, and you're able to, you know, just download through the My Library link at the top, you know, any updated file or title, or if this is like a separate purchase and you're just getting access to the alpha and then you're moving on. I think it's probably the former, because it doesn't make a lot of sense to just make people pay twice, especially if they're giving you feedback. But I don't know. It doesn't say on here. But it's got some really good momentum behind it. After everything that happened with the OGL and that sort of crisis we had, this is one of the things that came out of it. Is like people are branching out, they're creating their own thing, so that, you know, if that ever happens again, everybody is better positioned moving forward. I'm guessing you're going to be able to make your own Tales of the Valiant compatible material as a third-party publisher. So that's another reason to check this out. I know a lot of creators watch this show, so if you want to check this out, this would be a good opportunity. So it goes through the step-by-step character creation, determining ability scores, all that stuff, your classes. And what I love is checklists. So here you've got character sheets to keep track of a lot of info, but not everything on the checklist is necessary. But having it handy will save some fumbling later. Check that you have all the following information. And this is really going to be good for new players. But since this is a twist on the existing 5e, I think it'd be good for even experienced players to read through this and just say, do I have everything? Do I know what my skill and tool or tool proficiencies from my background are? Do I have my talent, which is something they were adding with this? my luck points are set to 0, what's my lineage and heritage, because one of the biggest changes is how races are done, because they've been, the 5th edition races have been criticized for being not really the way things should be, as far as, in terms of offending people and making things seem like they're ingrained in a race rather than something that they learned when they grew up, right? Because people of a race in real life are not homogenous. We're not all the same. And so why would they all be the same in a role-playing game either? So people are looking for more reality. And so one of the ways to do that is to start having certain things that are more like learned behaviors, like nature versus nurture, right? And then certain things that are just innate genetic, right? And so this particular system deals with lineages and heritages. So you'll find out about all that in here, among other things. And like I said, now's a good time to get in and start understanding what's up with this, because my guess is a lot of the Kobold releases are going to be under Tales of the Valiant. So even though they'll be backwards compatible with 5th edition, it'll be good to have a book like this helping guide you to understand all the new things that are a part of this. So check it out. It's under Tales of the Valiant RPG in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Tome of Essential Horrors from Necromancer Games. It's $17.99 for 184 pages. And this is for, basic, BECMI, OSR, all those style games. And it says it's been over 20 years since Necromancer Games first unleashed the Tome of Horrors, and our philosophy has not changed. Everybody needs more monsters. Necromancer Games has always been known for its monsters, and with the Tome of Essential Horrors, we would like to introduce those unique and mysterious creatures to your old school essentials table. This beast of a book contains over 100 monsters and brings classic monsters from Frog God Games and Necromancer Games to old school essential referees and players. Each entry includes a full old school essential stat block, classic black and white art, and an interesting encounter that highlights the creature. So you're going to get everything you need here. And I always enjoy Necromancer and Frog God stuff, because it's just so clear to me that they love this game and that they're passionate about it. So it's always fun to look through. But you can see this is so much stuff. So you start with an Afank, and it goes all the way down to a Juju zombie. So 2 new kinds of zombies, including a brine zombie, all kinds of rats, puddings, trolls, tabaxi. I mean, it's here. It's here for you to enjoy. I mean, here's the Afank, and the 𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙧𝙬. That's cool, like a bunny unicorn. I like that. And a giant ant lion, apparition. I'm just scrolling through so you can get an idea. Arachnoplasm. So I like the name Arachnoplasm. That's cool. But let's look at 𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬. It says the 𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬 is a large rabbit with white, pink, yellow, or light green fur and a long golden or black horn. And then you get all the stats. And I love the layout here, because they're using like a red font with this red border and black and white for most things. So I like the sort of almost like 3-4 color technique here. I think the text really pops as I'm looking at it. It says 𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬 are able to use the following magic powers. Each can be used at will. Blink. In combat, teleport close to an enemy attack, then reappear 1d4 times 10 feet away. If they have initiative, can blink away without the opponent being able to counterattack. Psionic potential. 10% of all of 𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬 are more intelligent than their kin and have the following psionic powers, each used at will. Control winds, 240-foot radius, 6-turn duration, can control the winds ranging from making the air completely still to creating a gale. They can also use the darkness, levitate, and telekinesis spells. And I forgot to mention under magic powers, they have Dimension Door. But then it says, you have been warned on a green and pleasant pasture crossed by a lazy stream thick with lily pads and choked with reeds. 2d10 𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬, including a psionic leader, have established a warren. During the daytime, one sees the creatures hopping around the meadow, gazing on the tender grasses and digging up roots, their golden horns shimmering in the sunlight. At the first sign of intruders, the creatures begin to hiss and a swift wind sweeps across the meadow. Then the warm light of the sun is replaced by a thick, inky darkness. The intruders, now discombobulated, the canny beasts quickly surround them and then charge into battle, blinking if the intruders find a way to defeat their darkness ability. The bones of an unfortunate mage lying in the reeds bear silent witness to the effectiveness of the 𝙬𝙘𝙀𝙀 territorial defense. So I love this. These are kind of like wicked bunnies that look like unicorns, so people might be after them for their horns and things as well. You could do all kinds of things with this stuff in this book. I mean, that was a fun little encounter that came with this cool picture, and again, you're getting this fun artwork and text that really pops. So I hope you check it out. I agree with the word essential here with Tome of Essential Horrors, so look for it in the video description links and give it a click. Next, we got Tome of Quests, Volume 1 from Pacesetter Games for 5th edition, and it is $20 for 144 pages, author Bill Barsh, and it's an adventure compendium. It will take you through 5 adventures that can be run separately or linked together with a seamless and compelling narrative. Each adventure features full-color art and maps, as well as new magic items and monsters to challenge and reward your players. So it's been in the works for over 10 years. Each adventure featured in Volume 1 comes from the very first year as a publishing company. Now, years later, we've updated the adventures and given them the posh upgrades they deserve. Now is a better time than ever to start adding Pacesetter legacy works to your library. So this is really cool, right? Pacesetter is one of the earliest third-party publishers for 5th edition, and we've covered thousands of books on the show, so I don't think we've talked about any of their books before, because when I saw this one, I was like, oh, cool, we get to talk about Pacesetter finally. I could be wrong. I'm old, and we've covered thousands of books, but in either way, Pacesetter is awesome, and this is cool that they're going back and taking a look at older things they've done and then collecting it and refreshing it. I think that's so great, because then you can enjoy it again anew if you've played it before. And if you haven't played it before, you're going to get a nice, new, refreshed version to start with, right? So either way, you win. And, 144 pages of adventures is really, really cool to have. So looking inside, there's all sorts of stuff. I mean, there's magic items, there's treasures. I mean, Potion of Wisdom, Potion of Delusion, Ring of Life Protection, Sleeping Gas Potion, the Vampire's Curse, the Vampire's Heart, Wand of Light. I mean, it's packed of stuff. I mean, the magic item section, it looks like it's like about 4 pages of magic items, and this is an adventure book, so you're going to get so much stuff. But we're going to look a little bit here at one of the first adventures in the book. It's called The Thing in the Valley. And it says it's for 4 to 6 players and characters levels ranging from 3 to 5 with a total of about 20 levels. So it says the adventure is set within the realm of the Misty Isles within the world of Dagmor, and specifically located in the valleys south of the Lake of the Lost near the village of Riversmeet. So yeah, they're going to give you, some of the Pacesetter settings in here. And you can work with those, or you can transpose this over to your own setting, whatever you want to do. But that's another bonus to getting a collection of adventures, is you can do some world building and expose people to parts of a world. You could even take some of the lands from the Pacesetter setting into your own. Dagmor, you can play it as is, or just extract a region and place it into your own setting as well. So that's one of my favorite things about D&D, is your ability to just do whatever you want. Like I always say, it's like a Bob Ross painting. It's your world, right? So here's the player's introduction. So we're going to read a little bit of that. It's long, so I don't want to read the whole thing, but hopefully you'll come here and read it. It says, the Logjam is a quaint inn and tavern, no more than you expected from this small village. In fact, Riversmeet isn't on any map you have ever seen. Nevertheless, rumors whisper that something horrible is happening in the small border community and that adventurers are needed. A tavern, boat, livery, trading post, mill, and a few farms are all that is Riversmeet. The Dagger River meets the Lost River at the village center, where a wooded 3-span bridge crosses both rivers. A quaint village indeed. It seems as if the entire population of the village is packed within the tavern. Their faces are clearly etched with fear. Only an old crone sitting by their fireplace ignores your presence. So I love the description of this. So it's called Rivers Meet, and it makes sense because two rivers meet, right? And then it's just picturesque to me. But then as soon as you walk in, you're finding out everybody's scared of something because a tall man with graying hair steps forward nervously. "A horror has come to our valley," he begins with a shaky voice. "It has only been 2 months and our graveyard overflows. Livestock and crops waste in the fields and carrion from land and sky abound. It is all due to one terrible thing. We cannot tell you exactly what this thing is, but it has brought nothing but terror and death. The thing only comes at night, leaving its victims pale as the moon, as if their very souls have been blasted. Yet that is not all. Each victim has been stabbed through the heart, some more than once. What foul creature is capable of such evil?" The elderly man hesitates as the people cry out to the gods for aid. "I must be honest with you. 2 weeks ago, a group of adventurers heeded our call and went into the valley to destroy the thing. They did not return, but neither did the thing. At least not right away. But come back it has. 5 days ago, the terror returned." So you can see they're quite upset that this thing is running amok and stabbing things in the heart, apparently. Probably not truly a stabbing. It's probably like a claw or something. I don't know. I don't know what the creature is, but I love the setup and how the contrast of this quaint, cool village that's at the juncture of two rivers, and then you're thrown right into this like town hall meeting of we gotta get our pitchforks and get this thing right. So it's off to a good start, and it's pretty long. I like how long it is because I think you can really get your players immersed when you have long flavor text like this, especially at the beginning of an adventure. You know, really get them in that mindset. Let them just absorb all this information and feel like they're there for it's going to take you a minute or two to read all this, right? So 2-3 minutes of just really being transported to Rivers Meet is a great way to start. So it's the thing in the valley, and that's just one of the adventures in this book, not to mention all the monsters and the magic items and the bonus material that comes from, you know, the quality that you always get from Pacesetter. So I'm excited for this one. I really hope you check it out. It's under Tome of Quests, in that link in the video description, links below. You got to click it. All right, try it out. Next we have Spellshaping, Arcane Tradition for the Wizard from Serious Wizness. It's 95 cents for 3 pages. And it says, with so many zombies shambling down the narrow corridor toward us, and me tapped for spells, I nervously looked over to 𝘽𝙤𝙘 to see what spell he could cast to save our hides. As he began to cast Vitriolic Spear, I must admit I got a little nervous. That seemed like a poor choice given our current circumstances, but just before the spell went off, he messed around with some of those beads on that abacus staff of his, and wouldn't you know it, he didn't create a sphere. He unleashed a line of emerald acid that extended down the length of the corridor and melted every last zombie. Much later, I asked him how he did that, but once he started prattling on about spell matrices, I zoned out. Math wizards. So that's a fun little quote. Talking about this, because it really, if you look at what this book is, it's a subclass for the wizard, but it comes down to spell shapers, and these spell shapers apply rigorous study of mathematics to quickly recalculate elements of their spells on the fly, allowing them to produce magical effects that, much like their often lengthy discussions on the mathematical blueprints of arcane theory, boggle the minds of even other wizards. So don't let math scare you. I've looked at this book a little bit already. It is not math heavy. It's just math inspired. So you're dealing with shapes. You know, maybe instead of a cone, you're doing a line, or you're doing a sphere, right? And so that's what they mean by spell shaping. But it also goes beyond this subclass. It includes 3 new magic items and 3 new spells: Acid Rain, Snap Freeze, and Whiplash. So fun stuff. So we're not going to read everything. It's really hard to read the entirety of a subclass on this show because it just gets kind of bogged down. So I'm going to read some highlights, but you can read everything here because the entire book is on display. So I really encourage you to click the link in the video description and read it for yourself. But I'll read some of the key stuff and then one of the spells, okay? So we've got Sculpt Spell. It says you can rapidly reformulate the formulas of some of your spells to change the area they affect. When you cast a wizard spell of first level or higher that meets the following requirements, you can use a bonus action to swap the shape of the spell's area of effect for another shape listed in the area of effect requirements below. So this may seem like a lot, but I've looked at this, and what I will say is that I think once you get used to it, it's going to be easy, because you just have to remember it has to be a casting time of 1 action. It has to have a single area of either cone, cube, cylinder, 5-foot wide line, sphere. It has to be one of those. So that's easy. Once you could even keep a little cheat sheet with those listed. And the spell must be created immediately. It's not, you can't have it pop up a minute later that you've created this sphere. So that's pretty easy. It's pretty much got to be instantaneous. And then it must not be able to move after you create this, whatever this shape is, right? So if you have a spell that creates a sphere that you later can move, then that wouldn't be eligible for this. So I think those are really fairly simple. So like I said, it may seem like it's a lot, but most of that's pretty straightforward. I think the only one that I would struggle to remember if I was playing this would be the shapes, but it wouldn't take me long to get them. I would probably just have a list handy, maybe write it on my character sheet, and then eventually I'd know it off the top of my head. And maybe later it changes. I don't know. We haven't read the full subclass. I don't know. Maybe it grows. But reshaping a spell in this way may also change its range. The dimensions of the spell's new shape as well as the spell's new range are determined by the level of the spell slot you expended when you cast it. And there's a whole table to sort of do that. So there might be a little bit of math, but it's done for you because you have this table down here showing you how the range would change based on what you did in changing your shape. And then thankfully, it gives you some guidance to the areas, because even though most folks know the difference between a cone and a cube and all those things, it can't hurt to refresh on that. Now, let's skip to the capstone feature. It says your mastery over spell shaping allows you to combine spell shapes. When you cast a wizard spell at first level or higher that meets the requirements to be reshaped, you can cause the spell to simultaneously create a second shape. So the second shape created by the spell is the same size as if it had been created by reshaping the shape created by the spell using Sculpt, your Sculpt ability. So basically, you can't like make a second shape that's like dramatically bigger, but you can have like a second one. It's similar to like, with some spells when you upcast them, you can have a second target. And maybe it starts as one target without upcasting, and within the upcasting it's the second target. So this is kind of similar. It's like you get to have one area of effect normally, and then you do this composite spells feature at 14th level, and then now you can have a second area of effect. So I love that. I think that's fun. And, even though this is only slight math that you're doing, I think it's fun to encourage people. Maybe you have a young person who hates geometry or hates any kind of math. And so maybe you can get them using this, experimenting with this, and then say, hey, you just did geometry and you didn't even know. Or, maybe when you're helping them with their homework or something, you can say, remember when you made that cone when you were playing your Spell Shaper wizard? Well, this is similar, whatever. I think it's going to be fun either way, but like I said, there's magic items, the Gemstone Servitor, the reshapeable die, and other things in here. But let's read Snap Freeze. It's a second level evocation, 1 action, range of 60 feet. You need an icicle, and it's instantaneous. So that meets the requirements. Now, I don't know if there's an area, we haven't read it yet, but already I can tell it has 1 action, and it's instantaneous. So it's eligible for spell shaping. It says, with a snap of your fingers, you rapidly chill the air in a 10-foot cube centered on a point you choose within range. Each creature in that area must make a Constitution saving throw. Creature takes 3d8 cold damage on a failed save or half as much on a successful one. The sudden chill causes frost to spread across solid surfaces within the area and a thin layer of ice to form atop any non-magical liquids in the area that aren't being worn or carried. And then, of course, the damage increases as you upcast. So let's go back up here and look if cube is one of the things that we can do. It is. See, I had to look it up because I would need help remembering for a little bit, and then I would eventually get it. So that means that we can use our features with this subclass to change the cube to a cone or a 5-foot wide line or other options in here. And then of course there's areas that could change potentially. But that's wise that they gave some spells to experiment with this. That's a really good option that Serious Wisness included. So I'm excited by this. I think this could be a lot of fun. You could even just have an NPC that's doing this, and it could be a topic of conversation. How are you reshaping things, and then introduce it later as a player option, or however you want to roll with it. I hope you do spell shape by checking it out in the video description links under spell shaping. Give it a click. Okay, now we come to that part of the video where we just give some shout outs to some titles that we didn't get a chance to really take a deep dive in this week, but they're new and we wanted to let you know about them. So first up, we have Adventures in Oz campaign source book from Double Critical LLC. It's $24.99 on sale, and I'm not sure how many pages it is, but it's a setting, it's got races and spells, and of course it's inspired by The Wizard of Oz. Next we have Araveska Adventurer's Guide. It is a suggested price of $2 for 17 pages. It's system neutral. It's a setting with factions, and it includes an adventure as well. Then we've got Curse of Strahd Companion Chapter 4, Castle Ravenloft. And this is some prep material for you if you're going to play the Curse of Strahd adventure. It's on sale for $4.21, normally $4.95, and it's 54 pages. Then we've got Guilds, Costers, and Cabals, a comprehensive supplement with compelling factions and NPCs. It's $5.99 for 46 pages, and as the title suggests, there's a bunch of factions, NPCs, and some reference material here for you. Then we have Incantations, which is $29.99. It's 88 pages, and it's focused on spells and subclasses with some phenomenal artwork for you. Then we've got the Infinite Dungeon, which is filled with maps that you can use any which direction to continuously build out a dungeon, and it's $8 for 28 pages. Then we've got Little Pests number 2. It is $1.99 for 16 pages, and it's filled with monsters that are very little. So looking at these images on the front cover, you get a sense for how fun and little they truly are. Then we've got Ways of Balance, which is a monastic tradition. So if you're playing a monk, this would be a subclass for you. And it is $3.49 for 6 pages. We also have Monster Weaknesses from Kobold Press. It's $4.99 for 16 pages. And this is filled with reference material. And of course, it has an impact on your monsters, giving them some fun weaknesses to experience. Then we've got Project Fragmentation, which is a suggested price of $4.99, 18 pages. It's an adventure with optional rules. And then we've got Shot Glass Adventures number 7, Seeds of Madness. This is for both 5th edition and OSR in the same volume. And it's got an adventure for level 5, as well as I believe there's some maps in this one. And it's only $1.70 on sale for 19 pages. Then we've got the Song of Lament, which is an adventure in Theros for 5th level characters. It is $3.36 on sale right now for 12 pages. Then we've got the Star Mermaid, an RPG adventure in space, which is compatible with basic fantasy and other OSR games. It is $3.99 for 37 pages. Then we've got Tome of Treasures for $14.99, 177 pages with items and reference material for you, and an awesome cover. I really love this cover. Then we've got Watcher Over the Vanished River, which is a level 3 adventure, and it is $1.99, 8 pages for 5th edition. And then we have the Witch class for D&D 5th edition, which of course is a class and presumably subclasses. It's free, and it's 20 pages, so you definitely want to grab this since it's free. Well, that's all we have time for this week. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment, and I will respond to you personally. All of that helps with the algorithm, and if you can, share the video on your socials to help get the word out about this series and all the wonderful, talented third-party creators that we cover every single episode. And if you want to really help them, click on those links and purchase their books. Leave them comments and reviews and follow them on social media. And if you click any of those links and make a purchase, even if it's something we didn't talk about in today's episode, you're going to help the channel with a small affiliate fee. So we love it when you bookmark one of our links and use that as your link to get to Dungeon Masters Guild or DriveThruRPG, because every single purchase adds up and helps us continue this program. So we really appreciate that. And if you want to take it one more step further, you can go to splinterverse.com or look in those video description links to see the books that we've released previously, including our Mithril best-selling Feywild Companion, our Platinum best-selling Dragonlance Companion, and a bunch of other fun options for you to add to your collection. And we've got a 2-book Kickstarter coming most likely later this year, so I can't wait for you to hear more about that. So follow us everywhere at Splinterverse so you can be the first to see some of the teasers and get those links to sign up to be notified when our campaign launches. So thank you so much for watching and supporting myself and all the wonderful third-party creators that we cover in each episode of this show. So I really appreciate it, and I know they appreciate you as well. So until next time, happy adventuring.